I've never done a magic lecture before, so I'm curious to see what do you guys want to know about? Do you want to know more about street performing, close-up stuff? We'll start there.
Yeah, crowd building, how you start openers.
Alrighty, okay.
Start at the beginning with the beginning.
Start at the beginning with the beginning, okay. Well, street performing, as I'm sure you guys can imagine, is a little bit different than like a gig. Mainly because nobody asked you to be there. You know? So, big difference number one. However, I personally really like it. I honestly kind of prefer it more so than gigs. Maybe that's just because if you screw up a trick, then you don't need to worry about people getting mad that they paid however much money for you, because 5 minutes later you get a new crowd and that's it. But anyway, I guess we'll just start with a few things. So street performing is, it's as true with everything in magic, right? But I feel like it's particularly important with street performing is it's more about you and your personality than the actual tricks. It's especially true in street performing because you will have the shortest attention span in the world with street performing. And I'm talking like, you get like a second for someone to see, okay, is he worth my time? So there are a few things though that you can help to kind of mitigate that a little bit. So I'll start off with just kind of a few logistics, the props and stuff. I very much am a proponent of the magic wand in street performing for a variety of reasons. The biggest one is you can make noise with it. I think it was Cellini who said it. Who, if you don't know who he is, he's a very famous street performer. He passed away a while ago. But he said there are three things that you need in order to grab people's attention. It's color, sound, and movement. Now, depending on what color wand you have, you can get the color, but you have sound with the wand, and you can also do a lot of movement. It's good for flourishes like that. You can do a lot of stuff, a lot of tricks. My personal favorite is just doing a flip stick. The woo, that one. Lots of fun. Things that I highly suggest, get a magic wand. This I made myself. It's pretty cheap. I got this dowel from Lowe's for like $2. Cut it off, and I don't know if you can notice it, but if you ever do street performing, or if you're clumsy like I am, I actually took a file and I filed down one edge, so it's actually kind of flat on one side, so that way it doesn't roll away. Because I'm kind of, I do a lot of stuff. I get nervous, I fumble, I knock stuff around, and it's kind of whatever. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, all I did is I just got a cheap $2 dowel, cut it, I think it's 10.5 inches. I took some leftover stain from my brother-in-law, because he's a big, woodworking guy, and I just stained it, took some lacquer and I sprayed it, and it doesn't look half bad. Anyway, so
Yeah,
then
looks like
magic
a
wand if you
$100
want.
wand from you.
Yeah, so not too shabby. Second thing I also recommend is a hat. I think I look like an idiot in a hat, but it works for a variety of reasons. Number one, sun. If you're outside in the sun, kind of helpful. And number two, you can also do a lot of tricks with it. A few things to kind of get people's attention. Kind of that color, sound, movement. You can do the whole ooh, hat flipping. You can do the whole oh my gosh, my arm. Bunch of stuff. But anyway, so those are the two things that I recommend that everybody at least should have as a street performer, or if you're doing a little booth type style, as opposed to walk around. Anyway, so that's that. So as far as getting the crowd, right? That's the most important part in street performing, is you need to find a way to get people to actually stop. The big thing with street performing is you never ask anybody anything. You always tell them. I remember when I first started, I started magic at BYU, my little magic club, and it was me and one other guy, and we had our little table, and people would come by, and I would say oh, do you want to see a magic trick, And they were nice, and a few guys would stop. It was fun. Not too often does that happen in streets, because people, they've got stuff to do. I perform at a lot of farmers markets. There's a lot of other stuff to see. So you never want to ask them, you always tell someone. So for example, what I say is, someone's walking around and I start banging the stick. I say, hey, watch the stick, this one's for you. 1, 2, boop, it's gone, it's in the hat, I just do quick stuff like that. Super quick stuff, you can easily reset, because it's kind of a numbers game. You're gonna have to do it over and over and over again until you get somebody to kind of stop, catch their eye, and then you can start working with your personality and making jokes and whatever. So, a few tricks that I do to start. Flip stick is my go-to. It's quick, it's easy. Another variation is you can kind of do this thing. It's kind of fun. And if you guys want, I can show you stuff. I don't know how interested you guys are in learning tricks. You probably will know everything I do. I watch a lot of YouTube. So. That's where I get most of my stuff. But yeah, so the two things I do are I do flipstick and I also cough up cards. I found that people don't expect that, but at the same time, it's kind of like a classic magician trope, so it works. So I do a thing where people walk by and I'll say like, hey, excuse me, sir, have you ever heard of Magician's COVID? And they kind of go like, what? I'm like, yeah, it happened in 2020, and it looks like this, and I cough up cards, and that typically gets a laugh, and it gets people to kind of get that initial stop, right? So get people to stop and look at you. Once people look at you, you've got about like 2 seconds before they will either move on, or if you're lucky, they'll come up. And so this kind of goes into what street performers call the bally, which is, you don't need to know that, it's just cool to know. But the bally is kind of your initial hook. The way you kind of describe it is it's like you're fishing net. You kind of throw out your personality, throw out your tricks, throw out your voice, all that good stuff to see what happens. So the first part is you grab their attention, sound, visual stuff, whatever, and then you want to do what they call an anchor. Now an anchor can be anything that gets somebody to commit to paying attention to you. That could be asking them, hey, what's your name? They could say, it could be something like, hey, come on over. It could be handing them a prop. You do your first thing, you say, watch the stick. Woo, it's gone, it's in the hat. Like, watch, check it out. Here, you make sure that you never ask someone. You just kind of walk out and you give it to them. And of course, that doesn't always work. And some people are a little more aggressive than others. Like, anybody here know who Cosmo is? Okay, super famous street performer. Like, the one thing of magic videos I owned was his Tales from the Streets. And he has, I don't know, I guess you could call it a more aggressive personality, but he starts off with a coin, and as people walk by, he literally just tosses them their coin. He says, hey, can you, hey, catch the coin. He'll just toss the coin to them, and sometimes it just kind of falls on the floor, in which case he goes, picks it up, but that's an example of an anchor. Someone catches the coin, and then obviously it's your coin, so they're gonna give it back. So that gives you a few extra seconds to be like, hey, how's it going? My name's Joe. Hey, watch this, and you do whatever coin stuff he does, to kind of get him into the mood. So other than that, there really isn't too much of a technique. It's just kind of whatever floats your boat. Some people are more aggressive, some people are really loud. And you don't necessarily need to be funny, or super obnoxious to be a good street performer or to be good at close-up. It does help. That's why a lot of people do it. But all you need is something to get people to pay attention to you. Sometimes that's music. I don't have music because typically where I street perform, they don't allow amplification, so I don't do music. But music's a good thing. I've heard of people doing kind of more like a scam type thing. So they'll do like the 3-shell game, or they'll do like fast and loose, and they'll invite people with like a little, the bulk section of Costco, some candy they got for $5, and they offer like, hey, come try the game. If you win, get a piece of candy. Something to get people to invest in what you're doing. Another personal favorite, the good old, whoa, best trick in magic, and then you'd be like, well, there's nothing on the back either, and then you can do that, and it's something to kind of get them paying attention to you. Another thing that I forgot as part of equipment that I personally really like, which is, I should probably just keep this open. Squeakers. Squeakers are awesome. I love them. You can use it to kind of amplify whatever you're doing, So for example, a lot of times I try to make a joke and it falls flat. It happens a lot because I'm not the funniest guy ever. So my squeaker is my app. I just squeak and I say, that's a joke, guys. That's a joke, and you can kind of save it while still getting people to pay attention to you. Because at least at the beginning, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter if what you're doing is fooling them. It doesn't matter if they're laughing. The point is they're paying attention to you. As they're walking by, they got a bunch of stuff. You want them to pay as much attention to you as you can. And then you can start going on and kind of go into your routine and whatnot. So as far as kind of crowd building, that's how you get your initial crowd. Do something to kind of visual, something fast, something that catches people's eye. Once you do, kind of like I said, use those anchors. So hand them a prop, tell them to come closer, or ask them their name, or whatever, and also invite to let them know that you're not a threat. A lot of people, if you're making noise, banging sticks, people get kind of weird, especially post-COVID. It's like, I don't want to talk to people, So I just make a joke. I say, hey, don't worry, come on over. I'm not going to steal your money. It's okay, I'm going to ask you to give it to me, just stuff like that. Just to let them know that you're not here to mess with them in that way. we'll mess with them in other ways, but just not in like, the ways that people don't want to be messed with. So, in terms of the Valley, that's pretty much it. A few things that Cosmos says in Tales from the Street is you don't necessarily want to be doing this rapid fire all the time to everybody who passes you because A, you're going to get worn out, and B, people are going to think you're more annoying than actually entertaining. So he says look for people who are walking a little bit slower, look for groups of people. Another thing he says from Cellini is people with kids. He says if you stop a kid, you can stop the world. True. Which kind of has a downside sometimes. But, look for people who look like they're not in too much of a hurry. The guy flying down the street on his cell phone, or, the mom with like 3 kids who are crying, trying to get to the place. Probably not the best to try and, make them watch I mean, maybe you get lucky and that's exactly what they need. But in general, look for small groups of people who look like they're having a good time, aren't in too much of a hurry, don't look like they're late to something, and don't just go rapid fire all the time. Maybe, depending on your venue, that works more so than others. And there is an aspect of having to go over and over and over and over again because a big part of it is a numbers game. But anyway, so once you have that first set of people, that first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, whatever, who stop, watches your flip stick, you do a bunch of random, tiny, fun little gags, I always invite them closer. So once you get their attention, once they kind of have a little bit of investment in what you're doing, like, oh, that's kind of cool, I tell them, hey, come over here, I want to show you something. And I decide, it's okay, I don't bite, I'm not a dog, whatever you want to say. And I get them closer. Because if you guys ever walk around, or if you're driving and you see like a group of people huddled over, most people tend to look over and they, oh, what's that? Granted, it's not like they're doing an investigation. They're not going to sit there for 5 minutes. But again, it's that 1 or 2 seconds of attention that you need to invite more people. So the first intro trick, I call it, I get them to come closer. And so what I do is I do just a simple coin matrix. Nothing super fancy, but something to get people closer. That's also pretty visual, pretty quick, doesn't take too long. Sometimes people leave after that, but it gets people closer. As I'm doing my magic, I'm always kind of aware of my peripheries. Okay, is anybody watching? Because sometimes you'll see people who are walking around and they'll be like, oh, that's interesting. If I notice that, I just motion them to come over. Say, it's like, hey, come on over, we're just having fun. And you kind of continually invite people to come. Eventually, it can kind of get crowded around the table. And so then once I kind of transition from kind of the more close-up stuff, then I'll try doing kind of more bigger stuff like fiber optics. That's one of my personal favorites. Something that plays a little bit bigger. Now, there's something that at least what certain street performer calls the 4 walls, right? Which, as magicians, a lot of the stuff we do, we tend to kind of do in kind of this space, We do our card tricks, we do our coin tricks, and especially if you have a table, it kind of forms a wall in kind of this area where we perform our magic, right? And as a street performer, or just close-up magic in general, if you're trying to build a crowd, you need to expand those walls, break those walls. 4 ways of doing that: going high, going low, and side to side. So for example, I don't have a coin on me, but like instead of doing if you're doing coin magic, instead of doing it like this, I walk over, I go like that, and I go like that to produce it. Looks kind of silly, but most people don't really catch on if they haven't ever seen magic before. And that helps what we call breaking the walls, Walk over here, talk to people, if you, like when I'll use the quiver, to do a coin production. So when I do that, I'll take my quiver with the empty side, and I'll just walk around and I'll go like this, like see the empty coin, like see the imaginary coins, and I just kind of walk in kind of a semicircle, again, to break the walls, especially with the table. It's really easy to kind of get trapped in this area. And if there's not very many people and you only have, 4 or 5, maybe that's fine. But if there's a lot of traffic, you want to do things to break those walls. So, something that helps a lot is a bouncy ball. It helps break the walls because you can, toss it on the floor, you can throw it in the air, you can hand it to people, and it's a really easy way with minimum effort to break the walls. Just a thought. And I guess that can go for any show, really, whether it's like a parlor show or a stage show, and you want to take up room. So you always think break those 4 walls, up, top, bottom. Same thing with a stick, you can throw it up, and you can smack it on the ground. There's a bunch of fun stuff like that. But anyway, Any questions so far? Is this kind of what you guys are looking for?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. Well, in that case, let me go to my notes. Yeah. So, in short, just be a goof. I mean, that's basically what I can sum it up as. Just be a goof. Just mess around. Honestly, for me, I don't necessarily worry too much about my tricks when I'm street performing because a lot of times I screw up tricks all the time. Like it's actually pretty bad. But I just kind of incorporate it as a joke. I'll go and I'll do a flip stick. And I'll go to like produce it, and it just kind of like falls out of my hand. I just make a joke out of it. I say, guys, like it's a joke. It's okay. That's how I get you to stop. And you walk over. And for some reason, people like that. I don't know why, but like something about just kind of being a goof, just kind of playing around, it kind of lowers people's guard a bit. And that way, when you do, those routines that you're really good at, those hard hitters, like it just blows them away. It's really fun. But anyway, you guys want to know what kind of tricks I do, or
Yeah.
I don't know what. Okay.
I was wondering, like, how many do you pack and how many do you perform before you start, like, restarting your set?
Yeah, so the way that I do it, let me pull up my set list here. So I have a few tricks that I kind of group into categories, at least for street performing. Let me pull them up, because I don't have them memorized. So I kind of separate it into the valley, which is what I was talking about before, kind of getting people's attention. Intro tricks, which is kind of getting people close. Kind of like the middle tricks, which are more getting people involved, throwing out those anchors, stuff where I can like get volunteers up, hand stuff out to the audience. And then the finale, which we all know what a finale is, your best trick or whatever. So the stuff that I do at the beginning of the valley, like I said, the flip stick, very fun. Pulling stuff out of hats. The classic stick up your nose, and out the ear, that's always a fun one. The little finger thing. Stuff with the hat, sometimes I play it as a joke, like I intentionally make it really bad, like I go, watch, whoa, nobody knows how that happened, and you like make a joke out of it. So anything to get their attention that's quick. It's, in my experience, it's the stuff that I first learned in magic, those tricks, more like, oh cool, like I make a coin disappear. Then you do it in real life and you're like, oh, that's it. People always get it because there's nothing more. But like, that's perfect for the valley because we're just doing quick, rapid fire things. Anything that's visual, making a ball disappear, or sometimes I'll just sit here, throwing a ball up and down, and I'll look at someone and I say, hey, can you catch? And they say no, and I say, too bad. And I'll do that just to kind of like, right, just to mess with them. Anything that's super fast. There's a little one ball routine that I'm working on. I'm not the greatest at it, but just quick stuff, super easy. Oh yeah, another thing that works really great. I should have prepped everything in advance, so sorry about that, guys. By the way, Casey, tell me when to stop because I tend to babble. You haven't noticed already, so just let me know.
Jason starts nodding his head or just falling asleep. Like, all right.
But yeah, this is my homemade waltzing Matilda. So something I'll do is I'll just grab this and. Stuff like that.
That's
It's
great.
just fun.
That's good.
This is a mixed squeaker from Jeff McBride. I think it's $15 for two of them. One of mine's defective, which was sad. Waltzing Matilda. This is actually really fun. I made this really, really cheap. This was a thumb tip that I got from Jan for free, and it was way too big for me. So I was like, I bet I could make something out of this. And this is just like a $1 silk from Penguin Magic. And this little wire thing is from, those like spiral notebooks that kids get from like first grade. It's just one of those where I unwound it, I stretched it out, and I used pliers to cut it. Then I just like took a lighter on one end so it got hot, and I just poked a hole through the thumb tip, kind of molded it down so it doesn't poke my finger, and just taped it on the inside, which is falling out, so I'll probably super glue that later. But anyway, and then I just put some masking tape on the end of this guy to hold it there, and it's kind of fun. So I use that as well for intros. Another thing that I like to use, I don't think they make Rocky Raccoon anymore, so I went to Amazon and I got my little cheap version. But like, kids love this. I don't know, kids love this. You say like, oh, you want to see my magic friend? And they're like, oh yeah, and you pulled it up and they just go nuts. You just do this kind of thing, you're walking around. People love this guy. I still don't really know what to do with them, so I just kind of do what Dave Williams does. You know, so I just kind of mess around, and I tell the story about, you know, oh yeah, like I was at a restaurant once, and I forgot a ham, and they said, you know, oh, you're not allowed to bring live animals. I go, no, and I just, see, no live animals, you know. And then I, you know, do my CPR thing, and, you know, oh, he's back alive, and people think it's hilarious for some reason. I do not advocate animal cruelty, by the way. But, so yeah, so I'm still thinking about what to do with them in terms of like magic-wise, but just to get people's attention, like this works too. And you know, sometimes, because he's a spring animal, sometimes I'll just go, oh look, watch, you know, like, do you want to pet him or something? And I'll just go, whoa, and I'll just let him fly out. Another way, thank you. Another way to use an anchor, you know. Be careful with that. Some people might not like that, so, you know, use discretion, but that's another thing. So all that's kind of my intro stuff to get people's attention. All the while I'm cracking jokes, I'm squeaking squeakers, I'm making noise, I'm walking around, I'm throwing stuff in the air. Just be annoying. In a good way, but be annoying. Alright, so for the stuff that I do once I have people's attention, and I'm like, okay, they're watching me, I invite them to come over, maybe I ask them their name, and they kind of come close. My go-to is coin matrix. I don't know why, but it's just one of those things that I can do with my eyes closed, and it's fine. I'm trying to learn the one with the shell. Not super great at it. I don't have too much time to practice, so I just do the classic one with 4 coins and 4 cards. I don't know, you want to see?
Yeah, go for it.
That'd be helpful.
Go for it.
Okay. Let's do it then. So it's, again, nothing fancy. This is another one that I saw from YouTube. So this is typically what I go. So once I get people around and, you know, they're paying attention, I'll say, okay, watch now, guys, let's try something. Let's have a little fun. I say, do you have a good imagination? And if they say yes, I'm like, great. And if they say no, I say, okay, well then pretend you have a good imagination. And I go, look, I have imaginary coins. And I walk around and say, see the imaginary coins? And if they say yes, I say no, they're imaginary, you know? And it's just anything to kind of mess with them. So it's look, imaginary coins, and I'll give somebody a wand. I'll say, look, like you take the magic wand, now go abracadabra.
Abracadabra.
And I say, like, can you see the coins now?
No.
And I say, no. You're like, are you sure? And then I say, oh, well, I can. And then I show them the coins. And I say, look, it's the magic jumping coins. And then I leave them the stick because I'm going to have them go back later. And so then I do a little something with coins. I say, look, these are the jumping coins. I say, I call them jumping coins because, this is again, going back to kind of breaking the walls, I'll say, they're jumping coins because if I put a coin over here, you know, it jumps over there. You know, if I grab the coin from over here and I put it up here, it comes down the elbow. So you gotta watch the coins, you know, because if you're not paying attention, they'll jump right from one hand to the other and you won't even notice. Some coins like to fall down, magic jumping coins like to fall up. Just a quick thing, again, to get their attention, break the walls, maybe even get some people who are staring on the sides and be like, come on over, it's okay, we're having fun, I'm not gonna here to steal your money, you know. So I do that, I grab them closer and I say, watch. Here's the trick, I say 4 coins, 4 cards. Now you put 1 card on top of every single coin, just like that. Give them a nice turn. And I say, watch the coins, because if you blink, you're gonna miss it. And I go, watch. I go 1, 2, 3, just like that, it jumps. Say, watch, we'll do it with this one. Watch, it'll happen on 3. I go 1, 2, 3, just like that, it jumps. I say, we got 1 more, and then whoever has the magic wand, I say, you, like, what's your name? You know, I say, it's Elvis. Scary. And I say, watch, do a little abracadabra with the magic wand. He goes abracadabra. And I say, do a little hocus pocus over there.
Hocus pocus.
And I say, okay, now give me that, go hurt yourself, you know? And I say, you do the honors. And I have them go, they do that, they go there. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're so cool. And you're like, I know, right? Anyway, this is kind of my first thing that I do to kind of get people closer. Second thing I like to do is a sponge ball routine. And this, I make use of my hat. Because especially when you're outside, if it's windy, sponge balls tend to fly away a lot. I learned that the hard way too. So I was looking for a routine that did not involve sponge balls just kind of all over. So what I do is this is what I do. I say, okay, now that I have my empty quiver, you know, if I want to, I'll have somebody take the coins. I'll have them put it back. You know, you'll give it a shake, snap, and then they're gone again. And I say they're still there. You know, they just change into the magic yellow balls. And I go, take out my hat, pretend to pour it out. I say, look, see, I've got the magic balls. Watch, you can see them right there. You just plug one out just like that. You know, I say, watch, I got tons of them. And you go like this, and you kind of keep doing your thing. Say, look, I got one over there. You got one over there. one over there. And now it's your turn. You know, and then you go into the classic 1 or 2. You know, you do that. You know, you do your whole the typical sponge ball routine, and then at the end I've got this one that's still in the hat, and so I put this one away, and just as kind of a final thing, and also if I just need to kill a little more time, I'll just go into like a little multiplying balls. Just kind of do that thing, which super simple. You know, just keep one palmed, and then you use the thumb palm, and you go and just kind of replace it. Nothing too crazy. I'll do that. I do this one a lot with kids. They tend to like it, and I'm like, "You do that? Is this you? Are you doing this?" And they're like, "No, it's not me." And I'm like, "Well, it's not me. Is that you?" And they go, "No, it's not me." And then you go, "Okay, well, we can fix this." So then I just do a final false transfer, give it that. We're done. And now at this point I've typically got people kind of closer. We do some fun stuff, and they're kind of at this point, if they're gonna stay, they're gonna stay for most, if not the entire time. Most people at this point, they would have either left or they're committed. So that's what I do for that to kind of get my intro. Oh crap! Where'd it go? Nope, that's for walk around. This is what I mean. I'm clumsy and I hit stuff. I don't even know where I put it. Okay, street performing. Alright, so for my middle tricks, kind of like the meat and potatoes of it, I like to do stuff that involves multiple people or gets people up on stage. So, simple thing that I like to do just a classic silken thumb tip, vanish. I have someone come up here, give them the magic wand, I vanish the thumb tip, and then I say, it works because we have like a secret accomplice. And I say, you gotta point out who it is, use the magic wand. I have them point to a member of the audience, have them come up, and then with the thumb tip, I just pretend to pull it out of their sleeve. That always tends to work really well. Most people tend to like that. But again, it involves this guy over here, it involves somebody else. If they're kids, their parents have to stay, you know, so again, it just gets more and more people involved, you know, stuff like that. Other things that I like to do, stuff like 3-card Monty, that's a great one. I do stand-up Monty by Garrett Thomas, that's a fun one. Kind of more scams and games, you know, fast and loose, 3-shell games, stuff that involves people, gets people thinking. Yeah, so stuff like that. Another thing I do is I do Chicago opener. Sometimes I kind of go into like a card trick thing where I'll like an ambitious routine. Do Chicago opener, and then I'll do just like a typical ambitious card routine, variety of ways. Card to mouth, do the whole, you know, double lift, give it to somebody, it changes in their hand, and every time I'm asking a different person, say, okay, you pick a card, and they're like, okay, then you tell me to stop, and then can you hold on to this? And again, just trying to engage as many people as I can throughout the entirety of the show. So that's what I do for that. For the finales, I just like doing the tricks that I like the best for the finale, in all honesty. Just because if I enjoy it, they're going to enjoy it. Classic thing in magic, if you believe it, they believe it. If I like performing the finale, if I think it's cool, better chance, not always, but better chance that they're gonna like it. So things that I do for that, fiber optics is the one that I like to end on a lot. I also do a 1-cup cups and balls routine that I do, and then I'm working on linking rings. I do like the classic linking rings, but I'm working on a linking ring with no key ring, so that way you can kind of hand it out at the end. You kind of have that be your finale, and also just like another knot type magic where it's not super crazy. It's just a very long piece of rope, and you do the classic like one-handed knot, you know, the rope through neck, and then like the 4 knots appearing from tarbell. Just something super simple, but something that like is big, you can throw out and kind of have your big aha moment. And then at the end, if you're doing it for money, you have your hat line, which is essentially where you ask people to pay you. There are lots of different theories on that. Again, Cosmo from Tales of the Street, he suggests throwing in 3 hat lines at varying points in the show, just to kind of get people thinking about it. And he kind of progresses it. The first one's just, he says it's more kind of informative. He's saying like, oh hey, by the way, you know, at the end of the show, if you like it, you know, leave some money. He kind of leaves it at that. You know, before his finale, he liked to do one more thing. He says, okay, thanks for stopping by, guys. Like, we got one more trick, but remember, before I do the final show, remember this is what I do for a living, so they don't pay me to be here, you guys do. So at the end of the show, do the right thing. If you liked it, leave a little bit of money. Just kind of a little more engaging. But the whole time, keeping people saying, hey, you don't want to miss this. Because as soon as you throw out money, a lot of people get a little uncomfortable. And there are lots of different ways to deal with that. Some people like to make a joke out of it. Some people just go hardcore and kind of go deadpan and go for humor that way, but humor is typically what most people go with. Again, just kind of experiment, figure out what works for you. But the second hat line is a little bit longer, kind of, says, hey, if you had fun, remember this is what I do for my job, just pay me what I'm worth, blah, 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 blah. You do your finale, everybody claps, and then he finishes with, not quite a monologue, but sort of. At the end, he always wants to make sure that you end on good terms with your audience. So at the end, Cosmo suggests, say something along the lines of guys, thank you for stopping by. Thanks for watching my little magic show. It makes me feel good. When I see you laugh, you make me applaud. You applaud. I like seeing you guys have a good time. And then he kind of ends with one final hat line where he kind of educates people on kind of how much to pay him. Because a lot of people, they'll throw you $1 or $2, which if you start off like me, that's fine. I don't care. If I get money, great. But if you do this more for a living, he suggests kind of hinting at how much you feel you're worth. So he says that the thing that kind of boosted him up to the next level street performer is when he started saying so if you enjoyed what I did, $5 makes a small difference in your life, but makes a big difference to me. And that's all he said. He just said $5. Not pay me $5. He just says, hey, if you like what I do, leave some money. $5 to you is a little difference, but $5 to me makes a big difference. Just a little hint, And he said as soon as he did that, his hat started going way up. I don't know if that's true or not because I haven't done that yet because I'm a bit of a pansy. but in theory, it should work. But yeah, other than that, that's about it.
Cool.
My dad always said, go big or go home.
Exactly. Go big or go home. What's up, Harry?
So where do you typically do your street performing? And do you have to set it up with any kind of city ordinance beforehand?
Yeah.
What do you do?
So if you're doing just kind of general, on the streets, you have to go through the city because different cities will have different requirements. I know Salt Lake, they do a lot of street performing. They have, I think it's called the blocks, is kind of like the neighborhood. And for that, you have to get a permit, which is like $30. And you renew every year, and you give them your social security number, or if you have a business, your EIN. And then they have certain requirements, like you have to be within 8 feet of a crosswalk, or I don't know what it is, but they have a whole list of stuff. Typically, if it's not through the city, it's through the police department. You can ask them about performances and where to go. The stuff that I do mostly are farmers markets. So I do the Provo Farmers Market every Saturday. I got lucky enough to do that. And there they have a specific area that they had specifically for buskers and performers and stuff like that.
I went to that market. I've never seen one.
Oh really?
Yeah.
At the farmers market?
Yeah.
Oh. Southwest side.
There's
I don't
also
know.
Salt Lake City Arts Council does Busker Fest.
Yeah,
Which
I think Casey was there.
I've
I
done 2 or
know.
3.
Yeah,
We were
I know.
both
I
there
did
last
that
year.
too, and that's really cool. So they got the Buskers Fest there. But the things that I do, I look for events. So there's a Facebook group. It's Utah. I think it's Utah Fairs and Events or something like that. Where again, it's more for markets and people who do crafts and stuff. But I always just ask and say hey, is there any room for entertainment? And I've gotten a lot of really good gigs that, well, I don't know if you call them gigs, but they let me do it. And a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times since you're a performer and not necessarily selling something, you don't have to pay a vendor fee, which is nice because sometimes vendor fees can be upwards of $100. And I definitely don't make that much street performing in a day. So it's kind of nice just to kind of do it that way. But yeah, so that's what I do in terms of where to street perform. And again, I'm a grad student, so I don't have too much time. So a farmer's market once a week for me is pretty good. But eventually I would like to do a little more and maybe go to Salt Lake if I have more time. And then kind of transition into, other than just the street, do more close-up stuff, kind of walk around magic. That's kind of also what I like to do a little more. But I don't know, does that answer your question, Carrie?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you like?
Oh.
Right.
I was gonna say, do you ever use fire or also borrow money from people to do winning tricks? I don't know if you ever.
bruises.
Like, I know tricks that do that, I just haven't done it, primarily because I haven't had the time to practice it. But that being said, if you're street performing continually, it's also a great place to practice. Because like I said before, if you screw up a trick, 10 minutes later, you got a new crowd that you can just do. And screwing up tricks isn't as bad, at least in my mind, as if you have a gig and you have one shot to do it right, because that's what they're there to see. So maybe that's a little bit of a cop-out on my end, but yeah, another good thing. Yes?
One of the things I've heard from street performers, if they do a trick with money in it, and they get a 5 or a 10 or a 20, they'll give a little hint when they give it back to the guy. I said, now, if you want to keep that, you can, but if you want to put it in that hat over there, that'd make you really happy.
Yeah, Cosmo has a thing. He does a bill in lemon, and so at the very right before he reveals it, he does his hat line. At the very end, he says, there's just one sad thing, in my whole life street performing, nobody has ever given me a 20 or whatever the denomination. And he goes, Bill or whoever he borrowed it from. I'm talking ever, and then, just to kind of like hint at it, and then you reveal the lemon. And also, if you do a bill in lemon, there's maybe a higher chance they'll give it to you because it's soggy. If they signed it, they have their name on it. So maybe a little undercut, underhand, cloak and dagger type stuff. But yeah, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But yeah, I just haven't practiced it.
Did you give out other information, business cards, or anything like that?
Yeah, so I didn't bring it with me because I didn't want to. But I typically have little signs with like a QR code to like either my website, or currently I'm focusing on getting more reviews. So I do have that one. So what I do is, these are my signs that I have. I have a fancy little I use what's it called? Those camera stands. Whatever that thing is over there.
Tripod.
Yeah, tripod, thank you. I have a tripod, and then I have like a big top hat that I put upside down and I tie it to the tripod, and I just kind of jam this in between the hat and the tripod for like my tip bag. And over here, on my little dolly, I have I guess I could show you guys. I'm not that lazy. Just have a little clip. Do that. It's not pretty. Most of this stuff I just figured out because I forgot my stuff one day, and I'm like, hey, that's a lot easier. I just tie it on like that. Get it to sit right. I just have it off to the side, so that way I can get reviews. But this is the one that I had last year with a little QR code to my website, so to do that. I used to have, I still have my business cards, but I used to put them here on the table. I typically just put them here on the side, so if people want them, they can come grab them. And I have gotten a few gigs. Most of my gigs that I've gotten were because someone saw me at the Street Performer. And so, yeah, so that's what I do. And, and at the end, sometimes if people stick around, a lot of times if kids stick around, I'll ask them to get their parents, and I'll be like, hey, thanks for stopping by. Like, here's my card or whatever if they're on their way. And I just do a lot of stuff through word of mouth. So, yeah, just kind of stuff at the end. But yeah.
Cool.
What do you like to do for your walk around?
For walk around, so for my walk around, I do.
Do you do that at the same event or no?
Not typically.
You like to post stuff?
Yeah. So
Makes you feel more legit.
yeah,
You're supposed to be there.
that's me. I don't know. I really do enjoy walk around though. Only thing is walk around for me. I don't do a lot of Okay, that's a lie. I don't do any marketing because I don't have any time. And so whenever I do close up, it's just kind of somebody randomly found my website or they saw me through the Street Performer. And so I kind of keep those separate. But for walk around, I kind of like to rotate through 3 sets. I have 3 sets of like 3 to 4 tricks each. And then I have 1 or 2 what I call floater tricks, which I just kind of use interchangeably if I need to add more time. I can tell you guys what those are if you want.
Sure.
Show you some stuff if that's it. But close-up magic, at least in my experience, is sort of similar to street performing. All right. Thank you guys.
I got a jet. Thanks.
I pull up the other one. So the way I see it, close-up magic is like street performing, but maybe knock it down a few levels. Just because, typically with street performing, you're at an open event, you need to kind of get people here, get them to watch you, whereas with close-up magic, yes, they might not necessarily there to see you, but at the same time, it's an event, maybe it's indoor, outdoor, it's typically in a more enclosed area. They're kind of your victims for a little bit, so you don't have to go as hard as, doing this and yelling and screaming. agreement and stuff like that. But it's still similar in the sense of you need to build up a little bit of extra rapport with them than say if you're doing like a normal gig or like a parlor show or stage show where the point is to see you. So what I like to do is I used to worry about this, and sometimes I still do, but now I just ignore it. But I don't bother about interrupting them, because at first I was like, oh man, I don't want to like bother them, like I don't want to see weird, like that's kind of the whole mentality of just kind of be a goof of street performer. I do the same thing. I just go walk up straight up to them, you know, I try to catch someone's eyes like, hey, how's it going? Hey, sorry for bothering you guys, but believe it or not, that is actually my job for today, and that typically gets a laugh. And then I do a quick intro like, I'm Josh, I'm the magician. I like to name drop the client, like if it's a wedding, so-and-so, bride and groom, or hey, you know, the venue, whatever. They've asked me to come and do some magic for you guys, have a little bit of fun, and then I do something to let them know I'm not going to take up too much time. I'll say, you want to just 1 or 2 quick tricks? We'll just have some fun. 9 times out of 10, they say yes. And if they like it, they'll typically ask for more, or you can just kind of get a feel if they're like, oh, this is really, really cool. Or sometimes you'll do 1 trick, you do sponge balls or whatever, and like, okay, cool, and you can tell they're kind of done. In which case you say, okay, thanks for thanks for letting me have fun with you guys, and we'll see you later, and just kind of move on to the next group. So that's kind of how I approach it. I don't know, maybe it's because I was slightly on the spectrum as a kid, but like I just kind of ignore it. I just kind of ignore it, and I just walk up to like, hey, how's it going? You know, just ignore it.
I think most magicians can start off saying that.
So that helps.
Yeah.
But in terms of I don't, Casey, how are we doing on time?
I think it's
Like,
good. I mean,
I don't. If you guys are getting bored, please tell me. As you can tell, I just kind of go on and I don't shut up. So we going at a good pace. It's
I'm
helpful.
watching you more than my DVDs, so keep going.
Okay, there we go. That's the win. That's the win.
I mean, you need some water, or do you need water break?
It's okay. I got a big girl voice. I can go a little more. Alrighty. So I don't know. You guys want to just know? I'm gonna tell you what I do. I'm gonna show you what I do, or.
Want to do a quick set then?
Okay, yeah. Let's see.
Who wants to be at a cocktail party?
Alrighty.
No, who wants to volunteer to be a cocktail party?
Okay. Well, let me grab my stuff here.
Load your
You
pockets.
want like a group of 2 or 3? How big do you want the group?
Whoever wants to.
Alright, who wants to
You
be
can-
at
you
a
can-
party?
You can stroll up, guys.
Or who will
He said he
walk
doesn't
around,
mind
right?
interrupting.
Like walk around, right? Is that what you want?
Yeah,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
can be
yeah.
seated at a
Yeah.
table.
Or sit at a table, or you want walk or standing up? What do you
Surprise me.
Alright.
We should just stay as we are.
I think this is good.
Oh, this is okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I was a joke.
You want to?
That'll be a surprise.
What kind of coins do you use? Are those silver dollars?
They are, so I'm poor, so I got these from Amazon.
Morgans?
But but these are actually pretty cool. They're actually surprisingly good quality. I got this on Amazon for $25. Comes with 2 shells and 5 coins.
Wow.
And they're actually, I mean, they're
How
a
much?
little noisy because it's not from a magic shop, so you can't expect perfection. But I'm poor, and hopefully I'm loud enough that people won't hear the scrape, you know. But these are awesome. I love these. So 5 coins, 2 shells. As you can tell, $25. Not too shabby. I used to do $half, but there were just some things that I was trying to that was just a little too tight, and so people were like, "Oh, upgrade to Morgans," and I was like, "Okay, cool, let's
More
upgrade to
visual
Morgans."
sympathies.
Yeah, that's another thing. So that's what I do. So oh geez, I haven't done this in a while. Let's see if I can still remember. Like I said, not a pro, hobbyist who occasionally gets money.
You're humble.
Okay, sorry, I should have prepared a little more. Where's my? Obviously, I do this in advance. Alright. Pick up all my junk here.
Jen, I have your bottle,
Space.
your mug thing. You left it. You left it. Yeah, so I have it in my car. Alrighty.
Do the setup right here.
Yes, this is the secret. Alrighty. Now the coin someone it's been a while, so we'll see how that goes. And typically I have like a vest, so I'll just keep pack of tricks in my breast pocket, so we'll just pretend that's there for now. But anyway, so say Casey, Carrie, and was it Glenn? Matt, no, you're Glenn. You're Glenn. Okay, Matt.
Or sit
okay.
down or
Oh, it doesn't matter. So okay, you guys are talking up, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, first of the gig, I gotta be okay. So they're talking.
Celtics won, yay.
So I'm walking over here. I go, hey, how's it going, man? Hey, sorry for bothering you, but believe it or not, that's actually my job for today. So let me actually turn this so you guys can see. A little bit of logistics planning, you know. I was not a theater major. So anyway, hey, sorry for interrupting, but believe it or not, it's actually my job for today. Hey, yeah. Well, hey, my name's Josh. I'm actually the magician here. You know, Trio, they asked me to come and do some magic for you guys. Want to have some fun real quick? Should we do a quick show?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Anybody seen magic done before? You, sir, you look cool. No? Okay, well, let's see if we can do a little something. What about you? Have you seen magic before?
Just on TV.
Okay, ever live and in person?
No.
No? What about you?
My uncle does a little bit.
Okay. Well, your uncle's a lot cooler than I am. But anyway, so anyway, we'll do a quick trick. Excuse me, you got something on your shirt there. Do you mind if I grab it? Oh, I know.
Hey, wait, that's my shirt.
I know. Hey, it's not a souvenir. So again, check it out. This is a Morgan silver dollar. You know, they don't make these anymore. They're kind of cool, but the cool thing is if you take them, you can actually split them into half. Kind of cool like that. I keep a third one right over here. So if we got two over here, if I keep one more over here, that is still two. Still two. Watch, we'll do it one more time over here. If I grab one over here, 2 plus 1 is still 2. All right, watch. See if we can do one more here. You want to know how that works?
Yeah.
It's because see the eagles over here? They literally fly from. No, you're not buying this. It's okay. I don't buy it either. Here's what actually happens. Watch. If you watch the 2 coins. Sorry, I put the
Oh no, you're good.
Watch the 2 coins go from one hand to the 1, 2, just like that. It's kind of weird. And so that's kind of the first one that I do, and honestly, because I forgot what the rest goes, because I did this like 4 months ago. But anyway, so I start off with a coin routine, right? And I go, okay, let's see. You guys want to see one more, and then we can call it after that. Okay, let's do a card trick, right? Because union rules for magician says you have to do a card trick. All right.
Okay.
We'll do something super simple. I've got 4 aces here. We've got the ace of clubs, hearts, spades, or diamonds. Well, which one do you want to use for the trick?
Clubs.
Ace of clubs. Okay, good choice, good choice. I would have picked that one myself. You'll see why in a second. Check it out. We've got 4 cards. You can see one of them's a little different. Just happens to be the ace of clubs. Yeah, not pretty cool, but to be fair, a 1 in 4 chance is actually pretty good for a magician. So the real question is, what if you had said, no, let's do something else. What if you had said ace of hearts? A fair question, in my opinion, so watch. Well, we still got 1, 2, 3, 4 cards with one a little different, but now it's the ace of hearts. You know, but here's what I say, you know, once, luck. Twice, coincidence. 3rd time's a charm, though. So what if we had picked ace of diamonds instead? Well, this one, you got to give it a little twist, or else the magic doesn't work. But you do that, and check it out. We now have 1, 2, 3 blue cards with 1 red one. Also happens to be ace of diamonds. I know, it's kind of cool. Now, at this point, I start getting confused. Because I don't know if all these cards, oh boy, I don't typically do this, but I do it on the table. Anyway, I don't know if all these cards are blue, like so, or if you give them another twist, I don't know if they're all red. It's kind of a weird thing. So the easy answer is to make them both, just like that. And if you're that kind of person, you may check those out. You may check those out. Those are just normal cards, and it's magic. You know, and then while they're doing that, you know, we'll do one more. I'll try to invite them and be like, oh, let's do one more, shall we? Let's here, hold on to that for me. Let me take those over here. Let me take those over there. Now, what's your name again? Matt. Have you ever done magic before, Matt? Like actually performed in front of a live audience? No? Well, you're going to do so today. It's going to be awesome. Here's what we're going to do, Matt. You're going to be able to take this hanky, and you are going to make it disappear, and they're not going to know how you did it. It's going to be awesome. So why don't you stand on over here? Everybody give a round of applause for Matt. It takes pressure. Now, may I see this, Matt? Now, here's what we're going to do. Under the cover of darkness, we're going to stick this here in my fist, and you're going to make it disappear. Now, do you still see it there? You guys still see it there? Okay, Matt, have you ever done magic before? I already asked you that. I'm a little nervous, so we're going to ignore that and say that. We're going to pretend you're the other person and say, no. Okay, well, here's what we're going to do. I need you to think of the most magical word in the world. All righty? You got it?
Yep.
Alrighty. Now what? On the count of 3, I'm going to say the most magical word in the world, and this is going to disappear completely. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Hocus pocus.
Easy. I know. Now here's the thing, it doesn't actually disappear. It actually goes to one of my 2 accomplices here. But I'm not going to tell you who it is. You have to use your intuition. Do you have intuition?
Yeah, I think it's Casey.
You think it's Casey? You think Casey's got something up his sleeve?
Yeah.
All right,
He's
Casey.
not rolled up, he's
You got Casey. Do you have anything up your sleeve?
Gun.
Some gun. All right. We didn't come to the magic show. We came to the gun show. But would you mind if I may check? May I approach the sleeve?
Yes.
Alrighty. Hold it up. Hold it proud. Show off those biceps, those triceps. Now, let's see if you got anything in there. Let's see if you got anything there. Oh my gosh! Would you look at that? And nice applause cue, and people tend to freak out. And I typically say something like, "You got like a 5 in there for me?" Anyway. And then you clean up and you go, all right, thanks guys, like for stopping by, and let me know if you want to see more. And then I just kind of walk off and I do my own thing. So in a nutshell, very kind of rusty, but that's essentially what I do, stuff like that. Yeah.
Cool.
Anything else? Questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, Josh, for your street performance, how long is the performance before you ask for money? Because like if I was walking,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to stay 10 minutes. I wouldn't
Yeah,
think.
I don't do it very long, primarily because I don't have that many tricks that I can do well enough. It's probably like 7-8 minutes. That's about it. Depends on the crowd. If I have a lot of people who are really into it, sometimes I can go for like 10 or 15, but typically I go for 7. So like, I'll do this, and kind of like the goofing off part, kind of getting people here is, I don't necessarily count that, but once I like get them closer, I will just do 3 tricks, maybe 4, and then count that good. Mostly because all the stuff that I plan to try out, I get nervous, and so I just revert to the same 3 or 4 that I already know. But yeah, I only do like, once I get some people here, I only do 3 or 4 tricks. It's honestly kind of like a walk around set. It's just, I stretch it out a little more using squeakers, using jokes, kind of walking around to kind of be a little more engaging than just the magic, but 3-4 tricks is about all I do. Like I typically do, let's say I do half stuff, I'll typically do the coins, I'll do that 4 ace thing, and then I'll typically do fiber optics and end with my cup and ball routine. That's about it.
What's fiber optic?
It's like a Richard Sanders, it's his cut and restored, well not cut, it's his Professor's Nightmare, if that's what it's called. It's his Professor's Nightmare thing. I can show you if you want, or if you're bored, it's whatever, anyway. But we're all magicians here, so I can promise you that these are just actually normal ropes, that's not a lie.
Can I inspect one?
Yes, you may inspect them. Typically what I say is typically when I'm street performing, again, kind of going back to anchoring, I'll typically hand this out. But here, check that out, make sure there are no magic trap doors, no pixies, Amway products, anything like that, do that, and then I kind of grab, because also how it works with the routine, I need to have them back in a certain order, so I give them out in a certain order. So I'll say, that looked good, Casey, alrighty, cool. That looked good, Carrie, perfect, over here, and then pretend I actually gave that to somebody. I say, this looks good over here. So I go like this, and I say, alrighty. And I kind of do a big thing. I say, okay guys, we're not going to do a trick, we are going to do an illusion. Everybody here go, ooh. Everybody here go, ah. Ooh, ah, ooh, I can't believe you're still doing this. Ooh, ah, I say, guys, this is not a trick, this is an illusion. Who knows the difference between a trick and an illusion? Anybody?
$10,000.
That's what I say. I literally say, I say it's about $50, and then I make a joke. But I say, but here's the thing, guys, this is an illusion. Believe it or not, oh crap, I messed up my setup. I was laughing too hard. Alright. I say, guys, here's the illusion. We got 3 ropes, 3 different lengths. The illusion is these guys are actually all the exact same size. So you can't tell because we got some strange lighting, but look, if you kind of put all the ends together like this, you can see they're a little bit different, but the moment you start to shake, they actually kind of go all like that. See, we got 1, 2, 3 ropes all the same size. See, this was the very long piece of rope right over here. This was the small one. This was the medium one. Kind of cool, And sometimes people applaud, and sometimes they're just like, stunned silence. That's what happened when I saw this the first time too. And I say, but you know what? 3 ropes is a bit of a mess. So let's pull the right rope out. I don't know why. Typically, I don't screw up this much on the street because I get nervous. Alright, so I say, we've all got 2 eyes. Let's just use 2 ropes, right? But sometimes 2 ropes can still be too much, so if that's the problem, we'll just kind of make it 1 rope, and we can actually start doing some magic. I say, now check this out, guys. Don't watch the rope, watch the ends. The ends are where the magic happens. Watch, if I put one end here and I kind of shove it into my fist, goes up in the air, pew, pops up over there. Now, we can't leave this one hanging, because he'll be sad. So watch, we'll shove this guy into my fist, goes up my sleeve. I don't have sleeves, but that's how magic works. Up the sleeve, a little bit of bad break dancing, and falls off on the other end. It's kind of weird, you know? But here's the thing. If that was too fast for you, it's okay. Let's do this in slow motion, because everything's better in slow motion. That's why The Matrix was such a good movie. Watch, slow motion, guys. Watch, the middle jumps over here. The ends flip over, and just like this, ends the middle change places. Thank you. Worked all week on that. Now the cool thing is it works even if we have the ends on the wrong end of the rope. See, if you have the ends on the wrong end of the rope, all you gotta do is just pop them off and find the right spot. So about, right there. Now here's the thing, guys. We start off with how many ropes? 3. Well, how do you get multiple ropes from just one?
Magic.
There you go. You gotta cut it, right? I'm not that good, Jen. But I don't have any scissors, but I do have magic fingers, so we can just do a little, just like that. We got 2 ropes. Here's our 3rd rope, guys. Remember, this was the very long piece of rope right over here. This was the very small piece. And this was the medium piece. Now, guys, remember what I said? This was not a trick. This was an illusion. And illusions, unfortunately, must come to an end. Hopefully that goes for student loans, too, but we'll see. Just like this. 1, 2, 3. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3 ropes. And, guys, that is magic. Thank you so much. So that's fiber optics. There's a little bit of magician nervousness thrown in there. But yeah, so I typically end with that or my 1 cup cups and balls routine, and that's it.
Is it a chop cut? Really?
Not too poor.
Can we see it?
Sure, yeah. Sure.
You want to make a money pitch now before you show it?
Yeah, there we
You do a money line, yeah.
go. So guys, this is legitimately what I do for my living, but I legitimately only do it once a week, so help a starving student out anyway. That's a joke, guys. Alright, this one, again, and this stuff I typically have in my bag. Oh, I guess I forgot to mention, I have my little bag over here that I carry my bigger props in. Which reminds me, tip from David Hyra. When you're performing, particularly street performing, or also parlor, he says, this blew my mind, I don't know why, but it was awesome, so I'm going to share it with you because I can. He said, as people, we have 4 eyes. We've got one here, here, and here. It says, ideally when you're performing, you always want 2 eyes towards the audience. So like, if you're talking to someone, you know, doing something like this, so you have your chest or your hands, you said, at the bare minimum, do 1 eye. So, this is where not being super poor can be helpful, so you can get a bag that doesn't reach the floor. But if you're reaching for stuff, you know, always like talk to someone like this, you know, or if you have to bend down, you know, maybe kind of do this so you don't, you know, turn your chest and be like, we're gonna do something really cool, guys, we'll do something really cool, and oh my gosh, you know, because it's a lot more entertaining and people won't walk off on you if they see that you're still interacting versus if I go, okay guys, for my next trick, we're gonna do something cool, and people are like, okay, maybe we should go to Starbucks, you know, and they're just gonna trail off, you know. But if you're like, okay, we're gonna do something cool, guys, like you do not want to miss this, we're gonna do something really awesome, and then here's my whoa, you know, it's a lot more engaging. So if you can, 2 eyes towards the audience, bare minimum 1. But anyway, I digress. See, I started off with 3 cups, but as you can tell, I get really nervous and clumsy, so I got rid of 2. Just did 1.
You should start putting that in your act.
I
You
know.
don't.
I legit say that. I was like, this is typically number 3, but anyway. Let me get my stick here. Alright, so typically this is in there, but it's kind of a pain to get out because I misjudged the size. But anyway, I typically start off with like at the end, okay guys, we're gonna do the finale of the trick. Now this is gonna be awesome. You do not want to miss this. Now guys, who here knows about the world famous cups and balls trick? You guys are magicians, so you all know. But most people are like, if not, that's okay, guys. This is a classic of magic for a reason. It's something that you need to master in order to be part of the Magic Circle, the most prestigious magic club in the world. And here's how it works, guys. We've got 3 balls and 1 cup. It's a solid cup, oldest magic trick in the world, and I'm kind of, you know, getting people to see if I can get a little more people, so I make a noise like this. Anyway, I don't don't say that in the show. But I say, anyway, guys, this is my magic cup. It's got a magic hole. It's got a magic hole. See, it's solid here on top, but over here it kind of goes right through. But as you can tell, that's not important, so we'll just ignore that. Anyway, here's how the trick works, guys. Take ball number 1. Put that in your hand, give it a tap. Melts right through. It's kind of weird. Watch. Do the same thing with this one. We put the, oh, I forgot my lemon.
Does anybody have $100 bill?
Again, that's prep beforehand. Anyway, spoiler alert. Anyway, back. This is why I don't lecture Casey.
Please tell me you have one loaded right now.
Not yet.
That would
That would be good. Anyway.
You should
Do
put
what?
that in your eye. Like, oh, I forgot my lemon.
Oh crap! I forgot my
Oh
lemon.
wait, there's one under here already. That's
Actually, that's a good
That's
idea.
good. I've
That's a
never
good
seen
idea.
that one.
Anyway, back to what I'm actually supposed to do. Anyway, okay, ball number 2. All we do is keep it in the hand, take the wand, pass it through just like that. Just like that, it just kind of disappears. Back under the cup. It's kind of weird. Now for the third one, I want you guys to see the exact moment the magic happens. So watch carefully. Go 1, 2. Just like that, it disappears. Goes back under the cup. It's crazy. And I'm joking, guys. See, it doesn't matter how many times I take a ball and I put it in my pocket. You just give it a snap and it just kind of comes back. It's kind of weird. It just always happens. But here's the thing. What if I put all 3 in my pocket at the same time? Well, see, if I put all 3 at the same time, you guys will start clapping. Because as soon as I put it in my pocket, then we get the big one coming out. That's kind of weird. And you do that, and then at the end, I gotta go, like, see, it's solid. Like, you do play baseball at all? You look like you sure? No, okay, here comes. Woo! Anyway, I do a little something like that. Anyway, not important. Where were we? That's right, a cup and 3 balls. Crap, I dropped one. Where did it go? See, normally I don't screw this up, so I'm just going to pretend that I did not screw up the load. And performing for magicians is rough. Anyway, so where are we? That's right. 1 cup and 3 balls, just like that. Now, let's make this a little easier to follow. Let's take 2, let's put 2 away. Let's just use 1 ball for now, right? 1 cup, 1 ball. Give it a tap, guess what? It disappears. It's weird. But check it out, if you give it a tap over here, it comes back. It's kind of crazy. Normally I don't screw that up either. Anyway, now the weird thing is you got to be careful where you put the balls. Because if you put it in the wrong pocket, you guys will start to applaud one more time because the stupid ball comes back again. It's kind of weird. And then usually people clap and I go, it's okay, no, don't clap for that. Clap for the lemon. Alright. And I go, okay, we got the ball, we got the cup, we got the lemon. Right, Tice?
Yes.
Tice.
Yes.
Wrong. Where's the bag? Where's the bag, Tice? Exactly. And that's the cups and balls. And that's again, really rough, but that's the gist. Seriously, where did my ball go?
Going to the sign.
It might have. No, anyway. Well, anyway, that's a very slap together lecture for you on street performing and magic, and that's all I got.
Tommy Wonders?
Huh?
Tommy Wonders?
Yeah, it was inspired by Tommy Wonder and then a street performer called Jimmy Talks a Lot. That's where I got the idea from.
Yeah, it's nice. Okay.
That was great. Awesome. Yeah. Who wants to follow that? Want to show any magic? That was awesome. Yeah. Or do you have like an email if people want to ever ask you questions around this? Or
Sure.
or just
Yeah.
sort of
Sure.
Friend you or
yeah.
What's the best way to get a hold of you?
I mean, you can Facebook message me. You can email me if you really want to. info.jcmagia, magia @gmail.com. If you want a business card, stick